From Nutrien Ag Solutions, I'm Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, April 10th, 2023. We'll start off looking at temperatures across the region a little bit more mild than they've been over the last couple of weeks. We've got some temperatures in the double digits, 10, 11 degrees across parts of southern Alberta, southwestern Saskatchewan, a bit colder as you make your way off to the east. We've got a more thick snowpack, and some of that warmth hasn't quite expanded all the way into the east. We are below zero in some areas of eastern Saskatchewan and then parts of central southern Manitoba. Then you can find some colder temperatures as you make your way further north in Alberta as well. The radar is quiet this morning, maybe a few snowflakes as we head later on into the day across parts of southwestern Alberta. You can see some snowflakes in some of the higher elevations here across the Rockies. And again, here's the storm system that is causing that. As we look at the satellite picture, you can see the big swirl right here. This is one of the first that we've seen taking this more northerly trajectory over the last couple of weeks. Really, the pattern has shown much of the storms diving in across the south U.S., with much of the impacts across parts of the Midwest and southern United States, and us being kind of quiet across the prairie. So here comes a storm system. Unfortunately, not going to bring a whole lot in the way of organized precipitation. We'll see a little corridor of some accumulating snow, generally near and north of Highway 16. And then maybe some showers along and south of Highway 16, some light rain showers possible. So here's the timing on this one again. As we head through the day, pretty quiet across just about the entire prairie. Maybe some snowflakes, a couple raindrops in parts of southern Alberta. Really, this thing emerges overnight into tomorrow morning. This is the overnight period, and then here is Tuesday morning, April 11th, and this is when we could have some snow spreading through Calgary, maybe getting into the Edmonton area, and then potentially into Saskatoon as we get toward midday. This is Tuesday midday, Tuesday afternoon, now Tuesday evening. You see that corridor of light snow spreading north of Highway 16. On the south side of this storm system, we'll have some warmer air feeding in. That's when we could see some of those showers along the cold front as it finally sweeps through. And so that times out for us here Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. This is when the area of low pressure actually sweeps across the prairie. So Tuesday, we see that warm air coming up over the top of the warm front. That gives us that corridor of snow. And then as we head into Tuesday night and Wednesday, the actual area of low pressure sweeps through. And again, this is when south of Highway 16 with that warmer air as the cold front kind of sweeps through, you could see an isolated shower or two, bringing maybe a localized downpour here. But this is not going to be a widespread rainmaker. It just simply is the only precipitation maker that we've got to talk about really over the next 7 days or so. This one sweeps through Wednesday, gets out of here, and then we are quiet for the rest of the week. This is your Thursday. As we get into the end of the week, into the weekend, not much coming. We got a high pressure actually moving in on the backside of this. It'll give us another warm-up and some quieter conditions as we get into the weekend. Now here's your total precipitation from the NAM, precipitation total by type. This is where you see that corridor of snow. We're talking about maybe 2 to 6 inches of snow near and north of Highway 16 from parts of central Alberta through central Saskatchewan, then into northern and central Manitoba. Kind of along Highway 16, that chance for some isolated showers, maybe a wintry mix near Highway 16, but that rain is going to be very light, hit or miss in nature. You can see it there with the precipitation totals. And then side by side here, total liquid precipitation on the left, total snow accumulation on the right. Again, where we see snow, we're talking 2 to 6 inches, maybe some locally higher amounts. And then in terms of liquid precipitation, that's right around we're talking about 20 millimeters, 25 millimeters of precipitation in the heavier stuff. And then near Highway 16, just, hit or miss, very light shower activity. So here's the jet stream pattern. We're looking at 500 millibar height anomalies. Big ridge, trough. Let me change my color here. Here's that ridge. Oh, still doing green. There we go. Here's our trough and then the ridge. This is what's brought us the warmth across parts of the prairie where we didn't have that substantial snowpack. And then this is the storm system that'll bring us the precipitation over the next 24 to 48 hours. Again, it's on the leading edge of those troughs that we see that upward vertical motion. We see the precipitation, cloud cover, and we generate those areas of low pressure. Let's go ahead and animate this over the next 10 days. We'll bring it back to Monday, and then we can watch this area of low pressure track across the region over the next 3 to 4 days. By the time we get to the weekend, we've still got general troughing across, the western U.S. and parts of Canada, but we don't really have any upper level support. We're not seeing those faster jet stream winds. By the time we get to Thursday, Friday, Saturday of the end of the week, well, we still have upper level low pressure overhead. The stronger jet stream winds are now coming around the base of this trough back into the Midwestern United States. So that's where we'll see the next storm system developing. And then, as I mentioned on the back side of this, we get high pressure over the back half of the weekend into early next week. This would lead to at least another temporary warm-up and some drier conditions until this next trough starts to make its way in from the Pacific. And we'll have to figure out the impacts from that one as we get a little bit closer to it. Looking at the winds at 500 millibars, we'll bring this one back again here to this Monday morning. You can see the faster jet stream winds blasting into Western Canada. So this is the setup for a storm system, for some precipitation. It just doesn't stick around very long for those of you who are wanting a little bit more in the way of precipitation. Again, we get through Tuesday and Wednesday. Here is the storm system making its way in right now. Again, on the leading edge of those faster jet stream winds. That's where we develop that area of low pressure down near the surface. We just kind of looked at that surface low. And the precipitation with the snow on the north side, the very isolated hit or miss showers on the south side. Then here's what we've got deeper into the week, Thursday and Friday. Here's where I mentioned we've still got that troughing, general upper level low pressure, but the stronger winds now coming around the base of that trough. So the next storm system develops here across the central U.S. Meanwhile, we are quiet and then trending mild as we get into the early part of next week as this next area of ridging comes in on the leading edge of our next trough. So potentially something to talk about early next week, but until then, it's really just this Tuesday, Wednesday, early Thursday storm that we've got to talk about. So let's look at it one more time with the European model. Bring it back to Monday here, quiet for just about everyone. Precipitation starts to spread across, the Highway 16 corridor overnight into Tuesday morning. This is Tuesday morning. And then as we get into Tuesday night and Wednesday, here's the area of low pressure now emerging across parts of western Saskatchewan as we get into Tuesday night. This will be about midnight on Tuesday night and now sunrise on Wednesday morning. Snow north of Highway 16, maybe some flurries coming in across the Calgary area, parts of southern Alberta. On the backside of this storm system, the cold front would be right about here on Wednesday morning. Maybe some showers on the leading edge of that as we get some of that warm air still feeding into the leading edge of that storm. And then this would be Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night. Now getting into Thursday, this is when we'll start to quiet down. Again, can't rule out some snowflakes, maybe a couple raindrops as we go through the end of the week. But by and large, the focused precipitation is going to be well south of the areas. We generate another area of low pressure across the Midwest U.S. late in the week. So here you go, heading through the end of the week into the weekend. This is now your Monday, and then as we get into the early part of next week, potentially talking about more in the way of some precipitation across the region, but details, specifics, confidence, all of which are low at this point for anything in the days 8, 9, and 10 time frame. So total precipitation over the next 10 days, there's your pattern again. The heavier snow along Highway 16, chance for some very light hit or miss showers across the rest of the prairie. The probability of picking up more than half an inch of precipitation over the next 10 days, the European ensemble on the left, GFS ensemble on the right. Again, it is going to be relatively dry next 10 days across the prairie. There are those chances for some light precipitation, but by and large, a dry week across much of the prairie. Grand Prairie, Edmonton, maybe the Calgary area, perhaps the exception to that, with the opportunity to pick up a little bit more from this storm system here over the next 4 to 5 days. Total snow through Saturday morning. Again, Edmonton, Calgary, Grand Prairie, maybe picking up a few inches here from that storm system over the next 48 to 72 hours. Just about everyone looking at not adding to the snow total here, at least over the next 5 to 7 days. And then a sliding 5-day window on your temperatures. Again, mild to start the week off. A little shot of cooler air follows the midweek storm, but then we warm back up as we head into the weekend early next week. Here's what that looks like. Calgary, again, a bit of a dip here midweek, warming back up over the weekend. Edmonton, very similar look here, 13 today, 4 tomorrow, back into the teens late this week. Saskatoon, Regina, and then a similar look here in Winnipeg. A little bit cooler, though, with that snowpack. Although we bring that mild air in, we're going to be talking about melting some of that snow. The flood risk is going to be increasing as we head through the next 1 to 2, potentially 2 to 3 weeks. We'll talk about that more next week in our next video on April 17th.